Well, the question was how did I get involved in music for the second time? I think I got to go back to high school. I was a high school musician in Midland, Michigan, played trumpet. We had a very good band. After high school, I went to the University of Michigan, and I dropped out of music at that point because I thought I'd better study and make sure I got an education. So I quit playing trumpet at that point, and I quit for another almost 30 years. And my daughter, Janet, was playing cornet in junior high. And so I went to see her teacher one time to find out how Janet was doing, but instead of talking to Janet, I talked to him about how I could start playing again. Okay? So as a result of that, he had me call the West Michigan Concert Winds, and the conductor at that time was Don Miller. And I called Don Miller, and he said, well, tell me your background. So I said, well, I was a high school musician, and I went to Interlochen, and I went to Stephen Foster Music Camp, and he says, and how old are you? And I said, well, I'm about 45, and he says, oh, and his voice fell. I mean, he was expecting a musician, and he didn't have one. So I asked him how I could get involved, and he said, well, you come to the band room and you go downstairs, and we meet at Thursday at 7 o'clock, so come on down. So I went down and I talked to him, and I said, where do you want me to sit? And he says, well, you see that white-haired guy down at the end? He says, go beyond him. So that's where I started, was at the bottom of the section, which, as it turned out, was the proper place to start. But if you know me, I don't like being at the bottom of a section. So I started taking lessons from the first chair trumpet in the group, Gary Oberlin. And after a few years, I was moved up, and I play next to Gary Oberlin at this point and have for a number of years. So I was an example of someone that could start from the beginning and get somewhere. So that's my story.